dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.
Yep. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Humble Dad back with another edition of Humble Dad Podcast. Got a great show for you this evening. How do I know? Because we typically do, and because I said so. We're gonna be talking about good men exist. Are they checking for you though? I only got this from a video. I don't know if I have it, but we'll see if I have it. Where the lady was communicating about how women are out here saying that there are no good men. And she was saying that there are good men out here. It's just that they don't see you. And so we're going to be talking about that. But before we get into it, we're going to ask the panelists the question of what's one lesson you learned growing up that still shapes how you operate today? All right. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel and all that jazz. All right. Here we go. We're going to start with none other than Miss Studious herself, Ash, in the building. What's up, 936? Well, you on mute.
Oh Lord, pulling the Dwayne, Lord, he ain't even here, but he in my spirit. But anyway, what lesson I learned? I guess you could say, failure only comes when you let it. No, that's not how I want to put that. That's not how I want to put that. When you give up, that's when you failed.
Okay.
That's a good way to put that. Because last week, 11, well, matter of fact, not Friday. Yeah, it was last Friday. Last Friday, I had to be determined to get my license back, because I had lost them. I had to go through a little, baby, tears and all, crying.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just, you can't fail. You got to keep going no matter what. There you go. That's what it is.
Shit, you Miss Studious. Hey, we're going to welcome back my homie, Mr. Charleston, in the building. What's going on with you, bro?
What's going on, sir? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, bro. It's a Monday.
For sure. Yeah. So for me, life lesson or something I learned as a child that shapes me today. So for me, it's around gift giving. Kind of a good story. So my mom, when I was in grade school, I got invited to the birthday party of one of my classmates. He was actually my best friend growing up at that time. My birthday's on July 2nd. His birthday's on July 1st. So he invited me to his birthday party. So when we went to the store to get a gift for my friend, my mom told me, she said, don't ever buy anybody a gift that you would want to receive yourself. So she was kind of instilling that, like, give something that's actually desirable. You know what I'm saying? And the measure of desires is something that you would desire yourself. So what I did is I picked out a gift for my friend. We got it. We took it. He had a good birthday party, whatever. Lo and behold, my birthday was the very next day. And what gift that I had waiting on me from my mom, but that exact gift that I had picked out for my friend.
Oh, wow.
So she just kind of just set me on a tone, like now, like even if I give the most minuscule gift for whatever reason, I always make sure that it's something like thoughtful that I'd actually want myself,
That's what's up. So you basically, if I want to know what you want, just pay attention to what you gave me.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I don't know what that says for somebody that I don't buy a gift for. Maybe I don't want nothing from you. I don't know.
Could be meaning. That's what's up. Appreciate you for being here, homie.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the stage. None other than the Huck Hogan in this building of YouTube streets, social media prototype. What's going on? Chilling. What's going on, bro?
Man, I can't really reflect on any lessons I've learned growing up. I did learn a lesson when I was about maybe 24.
Okay.
And that was hear the message, not the tone. So I still work on that principle. You know what I'm saying? So whenever somebody's saying something to you, it don't matter if they're screaming at you or how it's being said to you. Hear the message that they're saying to you instead of the tone. Forget the tone.
You know, that's interesting that you say that because the Bible says something different. But at the same time, I understand the premise of trying to hear past somebody's emotions, though.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Yeah.
understand.
But it helps in more ways than not, man. And staying out of your feelings and out of your emotions is important for a lot of it. So
Yeah, because it'll change the direction of the conversation. Because then you just start talking about how somebody said something as opposed to what did they say, and
right.
how we may have made them feel or come to that point of how they felt in that moment. So I'm definitely with you for sure on that one. For me, the one that sticks out and has gotten me into trouble more times than not is my mom taught me to ask questions. And so because I asked so many questions, it made me very analytical. And so when I ask questions now, people don't like to answer questions because in my mind, they don't really know the answer to why they have done or said what it is that they're doing. No different than when I would ask, when I'm talking to somebody, I'll ask them why. Like what brought you to this conclusion? And it would be silence, or it would be, why you gotta ask that? Like it is what it is. This is how I feel. And I would say, well, your feelings doesn't determine if what you're saying is accurate or not. You just feel that way. And so that has gotten me into a lot of trouble. But also it's helped me a lot too. Here I got a podcast that I do it on. You feel me?
That's kind of interesting that your mom was like that, though, because the stereotype, particularly in our community, is that adults don't like children to ask questions. Like the stereotype is like some people try to make it maybe feel like you're being disrespectful by asking questions, but it's just like you said, like we're just trying to gain an understanding, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Now
your mom,
it did backfire on her though, because when I have to do it to her now, I don't have to, but if I'm trying to gain clarity, I need to ask a question. She's like, but this is how I feel. And she watched my show, so I'm sure she'll text me saying something. I said, but mom, like how you feel doesn't explain to me how you got to that particular point,
exactly.
or if it's accurate of a point. It's just how you feel. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but I get it, man. It's been very helpful. It's been very helpful. So we're gonna start this show as we already have, but we're gonna start with a video that I think y'all be interested in listening to. If you haven't heard it already, did it load? Here we go.
A lot of women say they want a good man, and if you are a good woman, you deserve a good man. Let's be very clear about that. But something that you have to understand, ladies, about having a good man is that women feed relationships. And let me break that down for you. A woman's presence, a woman's words will make or break a man who is in love with her. If you have a man that truly cares about you and truly values you, there's nothing in this world that you can want. There's nothing in this world that you can desire that he will not make possible for you, or at least do everything in his power to ensure that he can make it possible for you. Because men are naturally providers. And it's not just financially. It's in all ways that make sense for your betterment and the betterment of your family and your relationship. But something you have to understand, ladies, is that y'all are the one that plants the seeds in the relationship. And let me explain what I mean by that. A man can give you a seed, and I mean an actual seed like a plant, not like, to birth a baby. And that seed can be an idea that's going to take your lives to the next level. And you can do one or two things with that seed. You can either water it and make it grow, or you can do absolutely nothing with it and it dries out. Do y'all get where I'm going with this? So essentially, the impact and the influence that you have on a relationship will make or break it. You can turn that man and yourself and your family into multimillionaires, or you can help lead him into poverty. You can be that backbone and create a healthy and stable foundation for your man and yourself and your family, or you can be the backbone and tearing down the structure of your home. Women are extremely powerful, but a lot of y'all don't realize that. And the moment you realize that and have good intentions for your power, watch yourself, watch your man, watch your family become unstoppable. Stay safe.
All right. So Let's comment on it. What's your thoughts on the video? We'll go with you, Charleston. What you got?
Yeah. So first of all, I agree with her 1000%. Like everything that she was saying, she was giving a lot of nuggets there. She was saying a lot of really fast, but scripture says, power of life and death is in the tongue. So even from any type of relationship, whether you're talking about a romantic relationship, whether you're talking about, your own personal life, your own thought life, your own self-talk, whether you're talking about ministry, the power of life and death is in the tongue. And scripture says in Proverbs 14, it says that a wise woman builds her house, but a fool tears it down with their hands. So yes, I do believe that a woman has the ability to build her house. I feel like she has the ability to build her husband. As a man, I am going to admit and say that I'm very ego driven, and that ego has the ability to drive me in many different ways. And so as a woman, as my spouse, as my confidant, as that person who has that special place in my life, if you use your words to affirm, and build my ego, yeah, it does get me out of the bed in the morning. It gives me that drive and that reassurance that, like, hey, if I'm facing every negative force, I've got one person that's got my back, and that's the person that I'm really living for day by day. So I agree. Honestly, I didn't find it no fault here in what she said.
All right, this what's up. Hey, Ash, what you thinking?
We're having technical difficulties here. I object to everything she said, and you can't make them do nothing. I'm lying. I'm lying for real. Because I say that all the time. People need to learn how to use words that work. You know, you want something done, you can always use words that work to get it done. That's that counselor talk right there. You want to de-escalate a customer? Use words that work. Learn how to talk to people. I say that all the time. She was right. Now, how many helpers gonna do it? None, because they silly. Anyway, prototype. I choose violence. I choose violence.
Um, I agree with Ash wholeheartedly. And, I mean, and Charleston, I think the woman that made that speech is absolutely right. But that message is only going to go to the choir, to the women that know how to do that. Most of the time, the women that know how to do that are going to pick drug dealers. They're going to pick the wrong men to do it to anyway. You know what I'm saying? So she's only going to pick the rapper and the drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Or some type of high aspiring loser. You know what I'm saying? Like, she don't understand that a man with integrity, some discipline, you know what I'm saying? You add that to it, that man can go almost anywhere, you know what I'm saying? But they're gonna wait at the finish line for that guy to make it. So that jewel for the most part is going to be wasted on some bum. For the women that do it, and for the other percentage that do it's a small percentage of women that can do that, right? If we want to talk about percentages, I'll say maybe about 5% of women can do that, and out of that 5%, 1% of them is going to do it with the right man. The other 4% going to do it with somebody else that it's going to be a complete bust. You know what I'm saying? To try to instill some leverage in that guy. So it's unfortunate. She's absolutely right, but it's just unfortunate. It's most of the time wasted because she don't know how to pick a man to do it to.
Dang, that's crazy. So the thing that caught my attention was when she said that she's talking about good men, right? And so in this, that the good man should get a little bit more, on a lot more than the average guy, so to speak, because the good man is literally looking at all the areas of that can benefit you and him. And when he gives you a directive, more times than not, he's doing it for the sake of the relationship to be better. Right. I was watching this video by what Lapeef had put up, and this young lady was talking about how she stopped talking to this one guy because she said that men don't really know how to communicate with women. They just want men just want women to listen to what it is that they say, but and do exactly. I'm sorry, not just listen, but do exactly what they say. And so Sweeney was said to her, so what is it about what he said that would have made you not think that he was a good man for you? And she said, well, I'm paraphrasing, he wanted me to share my location with him. And that's what she said. She said, well, I'm not married to him. And another woman, she asked, she said, So, but you wanted him to be your man, and he wanted to be your husband, but because he wanted you to share location with him, you thought that he wasn't being a leader. So that's an example of a woman not recognizing a man trying to do a good thing. Like, I don't know him if he is a good man, right? But that is a good way to say, I want to make sure that you're good. I want to protect you.
Was
So
there any
I
context?
don't agree to that. I don't.
Well,
That's
what's the context in what she said though? I mean, what
she was
she
going to go
say?
out. She was going to go out to a party, to a club.
Well,
And
so he was just saying share your location so in case something goes down,
yes,
it's easy for me to find you. But
yes,
I'm also assuming that maybe there's some reciprocity there, that maybe sometimes he shares his location with her.
I don't know. This is just the part
That wasn't it.
that's
I
just
don't even
Sure.
think it's that. I think a lot of men are really insecure and they're like share your location and then they hide it within protection, but really it's just insecurity. You know what I'm
really.
saying?
You
So,
think so?
yeah, for sure. For sure.
How is that an insect? Come on, Ash.
Because I mean,
Go ahead. Let him
because
finish. Let him finish. I'm trying to gap.
like I said, a lot of men are insecure, so they're worried about where their woman is, or I mean, keeping tabs on her and making sure she's in line. There might be some trust issues there. You know what I'm saying? Like a woman will offer that up. I learned a long time ago that women chase you, and they'll give you whatever. You know what I'm saying, if they like you. And if I gotta ask for your location, or if I gotta ask for anything like outside of that, I know you really don't like me. If I gotta ask you to call me and stuff like that, I know you really don't like me for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that put me in that chase mind frame of, oh, I gotta make sure I court you properly. I gotta make sure I do this right. I gotta make sure I do that. You know what I'm saying? And now I gotta ask you for your location. Like, she should have just offered that up, initially. So
Interesting. Ash, come on. What you thinking?
I call what prototype like say cap. I call BS. Why? I'm not saying it to you, prototype. I'm saying it to her first of all, and then you is a bunch of BS over there. Because first of all, my kids got my location. My kids know where I'm at 24/7, 7 days a week. That's different. But I'm saying if you really like the guy, like prototype said, you really like, you're gonna give it to him. But my thing is, what is the harm in it? I tell these folks all the time where I'm going. Hey, yeah, I'm going out. I'm going over here. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm gonna tell you what street this is, so you can tell me where I'm at. Because sometimes you don't know. But then again, like prototype say, his insecurities may come into play. But what do she wear out? What do she do when she get drunk? I understand prototype. You said that don't matter, but some of these people be running around here looking like the women of the night, and you don't put somebody mind in ease. I understand that doesn't matter, right? You mine and I'm yours, but sometimes we don't know boundaries because what I have noticed as I've matured a tiny bit, just a smidget, not too much because I'm still childish, that depending on the outfit can draw the wrong attention. And everybody know we got these predators. They on alert. They've been stalking your Instagram. They got access to you. Then you checking in with your location on social media with all these strangers and things. Stranger danger. I thought that was a thing, but I guess it's not no more. But you can't give him your location. To me, I just feel like that one, there was no boundary set. Two, there's no clarification. Three, if you're going out, let's make sure you're safe. I don't care what it is, because me and my best friend, she'll share her location all the time. I'm not checking it as in to see where you at. I'm just checking to make sure you're okay. In case you call, I can pull up and know exactly where you are, or go to that last location, or be able to tell your folks, hey, she was last over here. Can somebody go over there and check? I don't think she really understand what he was trying to do, but like prototype said, let it be one of them knucklehead thugs, the gangster rapper. Hey, give me your location, man. You know what it is. If I gotta pull up, I'm gonna pull up. Maybe if he would have said it that way, maybe he would have got it. Don't know, because we don't know the full context. I just feel like there's a misconception there, because to me, hey, you want my location, it's fine. Because what are you doing? What are you doing to where it's a questionable thing? It's a questionable act for me. Like, to me, I wouldn't, like, if I was dating, I wouldn't have a problem with that, because sometimes something may go wrong with the car, or you may get frantic and lose your keys. Come on now, we all adults. We all done lost stuff. Come. I mean, it's just I don't think that when people say they want to date, they don't want to date. They want to take pictures and look cute outside. I don't really think they want to, go the whole cordial dating thing. I just think they just a little hype. Just my opinion.
That's hilarious. Charleston, you got something on your mind. What's up?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, if a man really cares about you, if he loves you, if he's interested in you, the bottom line is men are overprotective. Of a woman that he really cares about, like I'll admit it. Like I go too far with things, and I'll tell my wife, like we've been married for 6 years, going on 7 years, and when my wife leaves, I ask her to share a location with me because I'm just like, look, don't do it for your safety, do it for my safety. Because my wife knows I will blow up and overreact as it relates to her in 5 seconds. I'm like, if I find out like my wife is missing somewhere or something is gone crazy, like I got my 12 gauge and my GAT in the car, and I'm making bad decisions already. I'm just off top. So I'm saying, so like for my safety, share your location so I can de-escalate a situation rather than come in hot. Because I don't, honestly, I can see a man wanting his lady's location if he's insecure, but to me, he's gonna do a lot of other suspect stuff that's insecure aside from just wanting the location. He's gonna be like stalkerish, you know what I'm saying? Like probably going through all your social media, you know what I'm saying, looking at every picture, he's probably doing all kind of stuff, following you around. I don't know, but location, come on, man.
Yeah, because he can do that. What's interesting about the location perspective is that your phone service has your location. You know what I'm saying? So if AT&T, Verizon, any of these people wanted to get to you, they can get to you because they know where you at. So, and they are complete strangers, right? So an individual that is just asking for your location, I don't think that's an insecurity. And if it is, right, this is the interesting thing that I think about the word the insecurity, and we'll transition to good dudes. I think that one of the things that's missing is, what's the word I'm looking for? I think it's interesting that an insecurity is seen as a negative thing when it comes to men, but men supposed to help women with their insecurities. Right? So I think that if I am insecure about something, my wife should help soothe my insecurity. If it's a location, if you're saying, okay, you're insecure about my location. Okay, well then help my insecurity. You know what I'm saying? Just give me your location. Otherwise, it seems suspect, right? It's no different when we talk about if a woman wants a guy to do the same thing. Hey, show me your location. Guy says, well, I'm gonna do that. Now you look suspect. So as opposed to just easing the insecurity, I think that makes more sense than trying to elevate the conversation to where it doesn't have to go. Lost, what's up, man? Welcome aboard.
What's happening, man?
Come on inside and get yourself something cool to drink.
Hey, man.
What you got on it, bro?
You know what, man? I love y'all, man, because y'all like to see the best in everybody. I really do, man. Just so y'all know, y'all don't have to catch me up. I've been watching since the beginning. I just had to make sure I get my mind right. To answer your original question, what's one life lesson that I learned that I carry with me is never complain about what you permit. You can't complain about something that you let take place. Okay? So that's the first one. The second one is the reason why she doesn't want to show her location is because she's cheating. Simple as that. I hate to put it to you like that, man, but that's exactly what that is. And the killing part about it is we want to so badly see the good in people that we miss the obvious. Why wouldn't you want somebody who cares about you to know where your location is? Unless you were somebody else who wants to know where your location is. Does that make sense? So that's the main reason why whenever she says that, I don't want to turn my location on, because let's be honest. If the shoe was on the other foot and the man says, hey, I'm not going to share you my location, she would have a fit. She'd be like, I put in all this time getting to know you and asking you all these questions, and I could have been with somebody else, and you wouldn't share your location with me. I think you're cheating. Well, if you do the same thing, guess what? It's the same thing. You know, the equation must be balanced. So anytime somebody leverages projection of how they feel onto somebody else, it's usually because they're doing the same thing. In psychology, we call that, if you spot it, you got it. That means that you're taking something that's inside of you, projecting it on somebody else, and it's actually you that's just doing it.
So basically, you're saying if you smelt it, you dealt it. That's
pretty much, that's it. If you smelt it, you dealt it.
That's crazy. That's good stuff. Hey, listen, I didn't know that was going to go there. That was not my point. But you know, Prototype did what he does, and I appreciate that. And so, but it kind of goes into this good man or good men, or do they exist? So I would say that she did not recognize when there was a good man in front of her based on that particular piece. If you watch the video, you'll see that that's what they're trying to talk about to her. And so this is the next question. What do you think the narrative good men don't exist has gained? I'm sorry, why do you think the narrative good men don't exist has gained so much traction in culture today? Why do you think the narrative good men don't exist has gained so much traction in culture today? We're gonna go to you, Prototype.
I just think it's their anecdotal experience. You know, you experience where you at. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not around good men, then you know that's just what it is. You know, there's plenty of good men, and you might not see them based on who you are or how you are, XYZ. You know, but I could say, like, if I live in the hood, man, there's no opportunities. It's only way to make it out of here if I sell drugs or if I play basketball. You know what I'm saying? And I could believe that. And you know, and so a lot of women are not putting themselves around solid men, or even I think every man has two sides. I know I definitely do, right? So a woman's going to bring out a certain side of me. You know what I'm saying? If you want to bring, if I see you as a wholesome woman, then you're going to get a wholesome man. If I see you as a slut bucket, then you're going to get an absolute savage. So you know, it's just who you are is going to bring out who I am. So have your choice. So
listen, I want to push back on that so bad because, boy, I'm telling you, you be having some conundrums, bro. Because I remember from the jump, you said that you were the CEO of the company. And so you telling me that your employees are going to determine how you operate your company? Is that what you're telling me?
No. You can't get in the company without a background check and XYZ. I'm talking about initial meeting.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like once you're in the company, then you're in the company. You're gonna see, like, you know, I tell you all the time, my wife don't know that guy.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So
I got you.
Like I said, you're gonna get who you are out of me. So if I see you that way, okay, then this is who you're gonna get.
But
If I see you,
supposed to said it.
Hey man, you gotta let the hoes be the hoes, man. Don't be trying to save them. You know what I'm saying? You gonna it's just how it is.
They don't want to be saved.
They don't want to be saved. So it's just complete waste. Don't be the guy in the strip club talking about you don't gotta do this. You know what I'm saying?
Be a good guy, but don't be the nice guy. That's what it sounds like you saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Who you got going next, homie?
Let's go with I want to call you the pastor, but he got offended.
He can't get offended because he's supposed to be a pastor in his house.
That's right. I'm priest in my home. I'm not offended, man. I believe that the title deserves its proper respect. So I'm just gonna, you know. But here's the thing though. I really do like this question, but I almost have to start answering this question with the question, and it's like, yes, the narrative of good men are hard to find has increased, but the reality is like, what are we calling good men? Because I do feel like the appetite for quote unquote good men over this same period of time has deteriorated. You know, if you look at who are the dominant icons and images that are platformed in our culture right now, you know. And I hate to go down this road, but if you start thinking about rappers like Jay-Z, you know, you start thinking about certain sports entertainers, you know, Cam Newton, you know, you start looking at people in arts entertainment, you know, your Nick Cannons. Like, what is the consistency that you're seeing in these types of black men? You're seeing men who are promiscuous. You're seeing men who have salacious lifestyles. You have men who are downplaying the image of marriage. You have men that are running around having illicit children intentionally with no intentions of having relationships with their mothers. So it's like, but these are what? These are some of the highest paid men in our community. You know, these are these most dominant images. You know what I'm saying? This is the challenge. You know what I'm saying? And I'm arguing a vein here. I'm not saying that all black men are bad. Please don't think I'm going that route. I'm not self-deprecating or deteriorating us as I'm saying, why don't people have an appetite for good men, and what are we calling good men? Because right now, I think if you were to take an honest survey on what most women would call a good man, it's a man that has a lot of money, regardless of how he treats the people in his life that he supposedly cares most about. So I think that is the challenge of like, what are we calling good? And what images of men get most heavily platformed in our community? Because until people learn to have a desire, you know, for the right thing, then of course you're gonna be like, there are no good men. Because what are men trying to be? You know what I'm saying? And to kind of really lean a little bit on what Prototype said, like that's very honest. You know, a man is gonna give you the type of man that you have an appetite for, and if you want a man that's gonna run through you. And like, where did she get that desire for a man that's gonna run through her? Because she sees the Cam Newtons, the Nick Cannons, the Hoves of the world. You know, that's my thought.
That's what's up. Who you got going next?
I'm gonna let my man Loss give us a sermon, sir.
Let's get it.
All right. Are you guys familiar with the story of sour grapes? Yeah, let me explain to you how it works. When we were little, man, our mom used to read to us all the time. And she told us about this story about this fox who wanted some grapes, you know, and the grapes were high up on the tree on the vine. And he, no matter how much he tried to jump and jump and jump and couldn't get it. So all of a sudden, since he couldn't get it, he just surmised inside his mind to make himself feel better. That says, you know what? Those grapes must be sour, you know, just because he couldn't get them. I think a lot of women today see men as sour grapes, because they're not equipped to handle that type of man. Deep down inside, they know that they're not equipped to be wives, you know, because it takes a lot to be a wife. You have to be patient. You have to be kind. You have to be loving. You have to be understanding. You also got to roll up your sleeves and help your man from time to time. That's basically what wives do. And since they haven't been taught to do that, nor have they sought to do that, they just assume that good men don't exist, pretty much like those sour grapes. So I think a lot of times women today have the sour grape syndrome. They just automatically assume that good men don't exist. And you know, the funny part about it, I had a friend of mine who is a regional vice president of an insurance company. And she was actually on a meeting. So normally she tries to recruit other women to be business owners or whatever, right? So of course, you know, she tried to show us a snippet, and she was like, you know what? I tried to invite the girls, but none of them showed up. And then she showed us a screen. It was nothing but brothers, regional vice presidents. And something inside me welled up and said, that's what I'm talking about, fellas. Keep pushing. Because that's the scene that most people don't see. Those guys were actually making things happen. They're not on the internet. They're not complaining about women. They're actually being productive men. And it was maybe about 30 or 40 guys on the screen. And something inside me welled up and said, man, I'm proud of the fellas. You know, nobody gives them the props. But I said, today I'm going to mention that. And hopefully it'll get back to them and say, keep doing what you're doing. And don't let up. You know what I mean? And to the ladies, if you don't feel like you're not equipped, the internet is your friend. Get around people who actually want to help you be married. And also you have to have it in you. Sometimes when we're afraid of something, it's because we don't have enough information, enough knowledge. This world is full of information and knowledge. It's up to you to have it inside of you to determine whether you want it or not. I'm going to go ahead and go with Ash next.
You said that like you had a choice. But anyway, I don't want to. I don't want to bite. I don't. Back to the question at hand. They don't exist because we don't know what we're looking at. You ain't think about that because you done told the good guy. What was it, Russell? You know, Russell. You done told him he was a simp. You done gave him everything but a good man because he ain't cheating, beating, and creeping. I don't get it. Like, what do you want? That's why I say don't nobody know what they want no more. You want what social media say is popping, which is the cheating, the money, the different baby daddies. Is you want to be for the streets. You got to pick a side. I don't care what nobody say. Even when you flip a coin, a side is chosen. Whether you chose heads or tails, you can either call heads and it's still laying on tails. Sometimes that's what people are using. They tails to think. So I think if you put that away, we can do something else. Because you can't say good men don't exist because people be like, oh, I'm mad, don't open the door. You know how many people open the door? I'm talking about early in the morning when I'm going to get gas. I'm talking about like 3 something in the morning. You got people open the door for me. You know, you have to let people do it. You know, if you running up there with your chest all out like them testicles in the wrong spot, who wants to do that? You looking all angry and stuff. I mean, you have to pick a side. Like, that's why I don't really talk about men with certain women because I tell you, you got the bitter bees out here running around because you cannot tell a youngin' like my children, my girls that are coming up, that ain't no good men out. Focus on education. You teaching them how to be lonely at an early age. Why? You teach them how to be independent at early age. Why? Teach them that, hey, yeah, okay, some of these men, yeah, some of them is trash. You go searching around the trash, you're gonna get trash. That's why they call it dumpster diving. But if you set a standard, get yourself a standard of living, you can find you some quality. Every man ain't out here bad. Every man ain't out here good. But I'm here to say that quit calling men simps. Let a good man be a good man. Let that man be a leader. You can't allow somebody to be something if you instead of giving him a negative field with what he's trying to do. That's what in the beginning of the show, what we said, words of affirmation. You gotta learn how to talk to somebody. Words to work. So if you instead of trying to tell a good man that he a simp because he want to take care of you, make sure your head ain't got no knots on it, you ain't being abused. What's the problem? But everybody want to play into that old superhero. You want to be battered and bruised, and you want somebody to come in and save you, but you want him to continue to do the battle and bruising. You got to change your mind. Come on now. You can't steadily want the same thing and then cry victim. Ain't that what they said about the little boy that was up there crying wolf when the wolf wasn't there? All right, I'm done.
That's good. No, that's good. The words that work thing, that right there, that's a bar for sure. Using words that work is very paramount when you're conversing with anybody, but specifically men, because we thrive on how we're doing. And if you are telling us that we're not good men, and what is it for us to think that we would be good men if these women are bypassing us? Then, right? But then I look at it as to answer the question, it comes back down to what people have always said. It's like, how do they see their fathers? Or how do they see the men in their lives? Or what was the conversation like with their mothers about their fathers? So even though it's an old statement, it resonates to be true because if a woman specifically does not have a relationship with her father that was a productive one, a one where he is loving her and coaching her and taking her on daddy-daughter dates, daddy-daughter dances, talking to her about how men think, loving his wife, or even if they're not together, how he still respects the mother, she's going to have a hard time realizing what a good man looks like. So I would say that where we are in today's time, it's a combination of things, such as what Charleston said. The media is feeding us not so good men. And then you have what Prototype is saying, that women will not put themselves in a place where good men reside. And then you go with what Lost in Translation says, since I can't find one, they must be sour. They must not exist. as a result of that. And so I had asked my wife about this question before before I put everything together. And she told me, she's like, there are lots of good men out here. She said, now when a time when I was seeing talking to other guys, before she met me, she said they were good guys. She just didn't see that they could be for her, right? But she still didn't say that they were bad guys. Right. But then if I talk to somebody else, I talk to another woman, they will say, well, all guys want to do is have sex. Well, that's true, but that's not all we want to do, though. You know what I'm saying? That is a part of the equation, but we do definitely want somebody that's going to be in our corner and help us build what we're trying to get to. And that takes a special person to do that. Proto, you got something? What you got?
Yeah, you said women aren't in the place, right? You said that's what I said. But if you merge everything together, they are not in a place, like even spiritually or mentally, to be around a good man. Because I said, like, I'm a duality, you know what I'm saying? Depending on what woman you give me is what man I'm gonna give you. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not only a physical place, it's just a emotional stability place. Like, if you're not, like, there's women in the hood that men will like absolutely move the refrigerator on command, that will make sure Miss Shirley's house is protected. That won't, they could be the hoodest dude on the street, but they say yes, ma'am to her. They make sure her grass is cut. They'll come, like, you understand? The same dude that just killed somebody on the next street over will come and treat this particular woman like gold, because she made sure he got some lemonade. Hey, you need a sandwich. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like they're not in a place to even experience a man's good side, if he's good or bad.
That's what's up. Did anybody want to add to this?
Yeah, man. I got a little something I want to add to it too, man.
Go ahead.
I want to piggyback off what Prototype said about gold. I don't know if y'all ever went to a pawn shop before, but if you ever tried to go to a pawn shop and you tried to pawn off some gold to them, they put you through some tests, right? They'll do what's known as the acid test. They'll put it up against a magnet to see if it sticks. If it sticks, it's not real gold. Then on top of that, they'll do what's known as the scratch test. They'll scratch it on the block, take a little bit of acid, and if that thing changes colors or bubbles or whatever, that's not real gold. How many women actually test men? You know what I'm saying? To actually see if that's real gold, to see if that's a real man. You know what I mean? It's like they don't put guys through no kind of test whatsoever. It's like, do you got somebody to give to me? You know what I mean? How can you serve me? But they never go back and they put a guy to the test and say, hey, look, who are you? What do you stand for? You know what I mean? What kind of values and stuff that you bring? Would you be a good father? That type of thing. Their conversation never goes beyond, the surface stuff, the little material things. You know what I mean? The building blocks of a family, those questions, they never ask those questions. All they want to know is, hey, when's the next time we going outside and get something to eat? At the same time, when men are searching for wives, they're going to ask real questions. They're going to ask you, hey, how's your family structure? You know what I mean? What does marriage look like for you? You know what I mean? How do you plan on raising kids? Do you spare the rod, spoil the child? That type of thing. They want to know nature versus nurture. A lot of times guys look at women as if this woman equipped to help build a family. You know what I mean? There's a reason why he's choosing you. Most times women don't choose men whether or not this is somebody that can lead their family. That's just usually somebody who can lead them to the bedroom or to some restaurant somewhere where they can build up their self-esteem. But I think that is the difference. Women don't test men. They just want to get what they can get for the moment and move on to the next guy.
Go ahead, Charles.
So are you mad because they want to eat and go out and look fancy with their lashes?
No, I'm concerned that they're wasting
Don't be
time.
concerned if that's what they was raised to do. Okay?
They're not going to waste my time.
Ain't nobody saying that about you. Take your sunglasses.
They can waste somebody else's time, but they're not going to waste mine.
Take your sunglasses off. We are doing what we were raised to do.
Hear what I say.
They're not going to waste my
Did you hear
time.
what I said? We were raised to eat. We had to get the meal. I'm sorry.
They're not going to waste my time.
They're not going to waste my time.
You're not going to waste.
I'm not saying let people waste your time and your dime. I always say don't feed them. You know me. I say give them a snack cake and send them on by the way.
you know me, I ain't for it because I what I say, if she can't take herself there on a regular, why are you taking her? How many hours of labor did you give up just for she can eat and then post a picture with you not in it? You know, I always say that. But my thing is that we as mothers, we as parents, we as the new parents and grandparents and aunties and uncles have to really come in and start doing some rebuilding and some retraining. Let's just think about it. Because like I said on the previous show, that some of us have heard, where about you first and that man later. And you're not getting the proper structure of how to interact with a man. You going out what you see on the movies, because I know everybody back in the day, everybody's favorite movie was Baby Boy. You had a whole lot of people. Hell, I can relate. I can relate. Jody driving the car, dropping out. You shaking your head. I'm just saying. I'm just speaking for my cluster of people. I had a whole lot of people talking about they can relate. And I'm like, why would you want to relate to that? Why is he dropping your car if he ain't put no gas in it? He put some rims on it and some tint. Okay, what? He can't put no gas in it on a regular? Because that was always my thing. I can't do that. I felt bad for her. She sitting at the bus stop, and in that we ain't had a bus stop, so you sitting at the bus stop with a baby. Just imagine me had to sit there, boy. You talking about a fight to go from the parking lot to the car to in the house.
That's the
I never understood that though. But I'm talking about for me. I'm just saying I never understood that. But we have so many negative things that we resonate with that we don't understand that we want to go away from that. That's why I say we got to start setting a standard of living. Like I said, I might not, like I tell my kids all the time, I'm not the best parent. I'm not the best person in the world. I don't have the best attitude all day, every day. But at the same time, I have a standard of living. And when I do try to conversate and give somebody this time, I want to introduce them to my standard of living. You won't believe what a mother sucker told me one time. Oh, that's what y'all do over there? Oh, well, I can't do that with you. I'm like, why? It's a different experience with you. What do you mean? But see, a lot of guys need to take off that Superman cape to come in and rescue, because all baby mamas ain't been battered. You don't get to know the person, you get to know the situation and think you can come in and play Super Saiyan. And that's the biggest problem.
But it's tough though, Ash, right?
I understand it's tough. It is tough because a lot of us have been battered.
You're a cut above or cut to the different type
to the
of
left because I'm left-handed. Because I'm left-handed. That's all.
So guys in general are providers and protectors. So no matter what guy comes into play that are good men, they're going to want to come in and help you, right? Because that is what we are geared towards doing. Even though you may be able to take care of yourself, that's awesome. But what am I here for? If you basically, are you saying is that I'm just going to be the guy that has sex with you and then we go out on dates? You know what I'm saying? But that's not what a man wants to do. A man wants to be able to protect and provide, but also in that sense, also provide a vision for you and the kids and for himself, so that y'all can be better. That's what good men try to do. Charleston, what are you thinking, bro?
Yeah. So what I want to offer is something called the Baader-Meinhof effect. It's Baader-Meinhof, and it sounds fancy, but you already know what it is. It's because when you get a new car, you think that car is unique until you start driving that car, and all of a sudden you're like, I see this car on the road all the time. That's the Baader-Meinhof effect. It is a unconscious bias of frequency availability. And I would offer that a lot of women are saying that there aren't any good men because they themselves have not been with a good man. See, if you get with a good man, all of a sudden that Baader-Meinhof frequency will start kicking in, and all of a sudden you'll start seeing all kind of good men all over the place, and you'll think, oh, I thought there weren't any good men out there. But now all of a sudden I'm with a good man, and all of these good men start appearing. Where were y'all when I was looking for a good man? Well, they were always here. You just never gave a good man a try. And see, I can tell you right now that the reason why a lot of women don't give a good man a try is because they mess around and had a sip of something that was toxic, and they fell in love with toxic, and they know they love toxic, but rather than purge themselves of that toxic past, they want to go back and replicate unhealthy cycles. So that is the challenge right there. I've sat down and I've pointed out good men to women. I can tell you right now, I know a young lady that actually I'm very close with. And there was a man that was interested in her. He was an undergrad. And this guy, I could tell, I was like, he's going somewhere in life. He's corny. That was the word, that was a phrase that she used. He's corny. This dude graduated from undergrad with a bachelor's degree in engineering and went to law school, and now he's a contract lawyer. Now, of course, he's married now and has kids, and this young lady is single, with a couple of baby daddies. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I showed her early in her life when they both, you know what I'm saying? But you mess around and you get some unhealthy, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be careful in the way I say that. I'm trying not to offend people. But here's just the bottom line is.
We offend over here, sir. You keep all that non-offend stuff over yonder. We offend people over here. That's what's wrong with accountability and offending.
Yeah, I watched this reel like literally just last week, and it was a female comedian, and she was talking about hood niggas are yummy. You know what I'm saying? She was talking about, she was contrasting hood men, and I'm not saying like around the way guys who got like street smarts. I'm talking about dudes, so baby boy. That's what we talking about. She talking about like baby boy guys are yummy, and she's saying it in the sense that I know I shouldn't like that, but I do. And see, that's most women's appetite right there. You know what I'm saying? You have no appetite for a good man, and now you've created this unconscious bias that you think no good men exist. No, give a good man a try. Stop being silly. Date a good man, and all of a sudden, other good men will appear.
And then on top of that, like even if you meet a good man, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be your husband, but it does get you in the proximity to see what one looks like, so that when you start talking to men, you'll be able to recognize what a good man is. And I think that's a good point. One of the things I asked my wife was, what does a good man look like? And one of the things she said is that he's very consistent. When he talks about his job, you can hear some of the principles that he has when he's talking about his job. Also, you can see what his vision when he's talking to you about his vision. He is consistent in how he treats you. He is consistent on a regular basis about all the things that make up him. So that was some of the things that she gave me. So I want to talk about that because I think Charleston was alluding to that. What does a good man look like? Let's go, Lost.
You know what? Here's the thing. I think that a lot of times, man, we try to escape what we already know. My grandmother said a long time ago, she said, you test the spirit by the spirit. You know what I mean? What's in the well will come up in the bucket. All you got to do is listen to see what comes out of that person's mouth. Even the Bible tells you, man, what's in your heart come out of your mouth, And the thing about it is a lot of times people can't listen because they're always talking.
Did you hear what I said?
How are you supposed to gather information if you always running your mouth? You see what I'm saying? Use your ears as your guidepost to figure out exactly where you're going. A lot of times people want to use their eyes. I believe it when I see it. The Bible even says, hey, you know what I mean? You go by faith and not by sight. But we do everything opposite. I believe it when I see it. That's not how that works. So my thing is you have to be able to listen for the signs of a good man. You can't listen if you're always talking. We don't know how to be quiet. That's the problem. And the killing part about it is people like to say, well, they tricked me. All of a sudden, I woke up and I didn't know who they were. They were always the same person. It's just you got tired and your ears opened up one day because they said something you didn't like and you were looking for a reason to leave. And that's when your ears started working. You see what I'm saying? Instead of the beginning. And I think that's the problem, man. We don't use our ears in proportion to how we are set up. That's why we got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Close your mouth sometimes and listen and let people talk. Ask them questions. I always tell people, man, questions are the answers. Know your why. First of all, know why you want to get married. And then after that, consider, are you equipped? And if you're not equipped, figure out exactly where you can get that knowledge and information. And that'll empower you. And that way you don't make decisions based upon how you feel at that particular moment in time. Because if I had to choose a wife based upon who I was 20 years ago, I assure you that wife was not equipped to handle the type of man that I am today. I'm going to go with Charleston next.
So what would you categorize, or what, some of the ways of a good man? I'm gonna ask you a specific question, Charleston, because I think it was alluded to what Prototype said. He said that he don't think that women really seek God and understand who God is, especially when it comes to evaluating the man. So, is that fair to say, Proto? Kind of, sort of, okay, more or less. So my question,
I'll concede so you get to the point.
yeah. So, and so my question is, how can a woman know from a biblical perspective or some identification of what a good man looks like scripturally? What are some of the tools? What are some of the characteristics that they should see in a man? Even though, as Prototype says, it would be hard. It says though they don't follow God like that.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you kind of give me that premise, because I was definitely going to come from the lens that there is no goodness outside of God. I was going to say that there is no good man outside of a godly man. And some people might wrestle with that or get some type of consternation because they're just like, well, you're kind of hedging the bet there a little bit. But here's my thing, though. If you have a man that is even a little bit thwarted, conflicted, in his godliness, then he's missing all of it. And when it comes to you walking in the path of God's word, listen, when you think about a car, you could have a beautiful S-Class Mercedes, $100,000 car that has all the bells and whistles, but if one small thing is wrong with that car, it will make the whole car completely inoperable. It could be something as simple as a flat tire. You could be missing the keys to the car. You could have a belt go out on the car. The rest of the car can still be an S-Class Mercedes. It could be firing, have everything that looks amazing. But one small thing missing will cause it to be inoperable. And I'm saying this is the same thing when it comes to a man. He could have a lot of good things, but if he's missing that one thing, scripture says a little leaven leavens a whole lump. And that's the challenge that you're running into. Now, to answer your question directly, HD, about what are some qualities that are in a good man, well, honestly, I think that these same qualities in a good man are the same qualities that's in a man who's disciplined of the word of God, who's a disciple of God, who's a godly man. So whether we're talking about characteristics of the Holy Spirit, you know what I'm saying? Whether we're talking about somebody who's loving, somebody who walks in to self-control. I like what your wife said about a man that has a vision. Without a vision, the people perish. Where is he going in life? I think that we were having a conversation a few weeks ago, and I know Lost brought this up when he talked about Adam, and he talked about the essential elements that God gave Adam in the garden before he gave him Eve. So he gave man a purpose. He gave man resources. He gave man opportunity and space to work to prove himself. And after he had an understanding of who he was and an establishment of who he was and the resources, then God said, oh, by the way, I'm going to give you this wife to care for, somebody who I'm going to add to the garden, right? So I think sometimes you got people who are ill-equipped, who have not matured, who have not developed in certain areas. But then also, again, to piggyback what Law said, you could be firing on all cylinders, but if you don't have a woman that has the right appetite for a man, it can all go for naught. To kind of address directly what Prototype is saying, that do women desire a godly man and they don't know what godliness is? I would say that as women, you do have to cleanse your palate. You have to cleanse your palate, from those toxic past relationships. You have to cleanse your palate from some of the stuff that social media is feeding us. Just like you, HD, I asked my wife these same questions. I'm like, do you feel like good men exist? And why do you feel like women struggle to find a good man? And one of the things that my wife pointed out is she says a lot of women are allowing social media to feed them images of what men look like. And these images are extremely shallow. All you're seeing is one little small percentage corner of what a man is. Maybe it's his money. And that is by and large not the substance of who he is, because who cares if he has a lot of money and he's going to beat you? You know, who cares if he has a lot of money and he's going to be running around sleeping with other women? You know, it's like you have to have that whole picture. Again, that whole picture lines up with the word of God. And hopefully you've put yourself in a place where you have an appetite for godliness.
That's what's up. Say to you, Prototype, how do you how would you send a woman out, because you have a daughter? You have a daughter, right? How would you have her be able to know how to identify a good dude?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I think I've been saying this from the start of the show, of since y'all know me, but there's only really two ways to identify a good man, and that's through discipline and integrity. I hate the notion that, you know, there's nothing good outside of God, like there's no good man outside of God. I've heard that before from other pastors and, you know, super Christian friends, you know what I'm saying? But it just don't add up, because, you know, Gandhi is known for being a good man. Like, that's his like calling card, but he's a Hindu. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And that is without God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a neighbor down the street who's Hindu also, you know what I'm saying? And he's a good dude. So you can't say that, oh, if you don't believe in Christ, you can't be a good person. You know what I'm saying? No, do we get the same resting place? No, but you can't call a man not good just because he don't believe in Christ, because there's good men outside of Christ. But yeah, discipline and integrity, man, is what makes a man a good man. You know, there's really nothing outside of that.
And how can a woman be able to see a man disciplined and have integrity? Like, how would, I mean, those are good words to say, but how does a woman see that?
I mean, I guess it's in an act, right? You see if he makes the right decision. How do I know if any man has discipline and integrity? Like, he returns the wallet, or he does a good deed, or, you know what I'm saying? You just see how they act, and if it's consistent, you know, like, oh, okay, he continuously says don't do this, or he continually speaks positive, or, you know what I'm saying, he doesn't feed into negative behavior. Like, you know, if I feel like gossiping, he shuts it down. You know what I'm saying? When I have ill intentions, he'll be like, I don't really want to hear about that, or he gives you the treatment like, I'm really not interested in, you know, you talking about females to me right now. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's focus on the work. You know what I mean? It's discipline and integrity, man. And you can see it in a lot of different ways, but in the same ways that you would identify it in a coworker, the same way you would identify as somebody you just seen at the ballpark. You know what I'm saying? The same way you identified, you know, passing somebody through the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Those things show up on a continuous basis. So, I mean, there is no one way to really, you know, pick it out. You just got to know what it is. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you got to be trained and know what discipline and integrity is, or, you know, go through it yourself. But that's basically where it stands for me.
Yeah, I get you. And the reason why I was asking before I come to Ash is because if we're trying to show women that there are good men out here and they keep missing them, it got to be either they don't qualify, or they don't know how to look for them, or the good men are finding the ones that need to be picked up, right? So when you said discipline and integrity, I know what discipline looks like. If I'm talking and having a conversation with another guy, I can see in his conversation if he's disciplined or not, right? But I think that a lot of women are not disciplined, so it's going to be hard for them to identify what a man discipline look like, right? So that's why I was asking. It wasn't a rebuttal.
Yeah, no. I mean, you make a great point there, right? A lot of women not in that discipline. They damn sure don't got no integrity. You know what I'm saying? So it is a hard call. So yeah, you stumped me there. I really don't know how to tell a woman who doesn't have integrity or discipline that a man how to see discipline and integrity.
Because one of the things that I've been paying attention to is that women have a hard time changing, right? If they change, that meant that they had accountability. and they saw intrinsically what was wrong with him, and they say, okay, well, I need to change this. Well, a disciplined person up against someone that struggles with that is going to make her feel inadequate sometimes, right? And it could work vice versa as well, but we're just talking about a good man should be disciplined and have integrity. And when you put that up against somebody, they have to filter themselves through you. And women don't want to change like that.
You know what though? I mean, we could tell them to go and get that degree and this and that, and they know how to be disciplined and have integrity and making sure they turn in their schoolwork, and they know what that look like. We can't, you know what I'm saying? We can't pass that 100% up, you know, unless they just ain't graduating high school or going to college. You know what I'm saying? Like they haven't accomplished nothing, especially if they're athletes. I tend to go after athletic women. So, but
I'm saying that a man that is more disciplined than them, yes, you know, to graduate from college, it's not hard to do. Like you just need to go to class and make sure you make a C, right? But I'm saying that if you lift weights, if there was a young lady that wanted to pursue or show that she was interested, she would know that she would have to be in shape to some degree.
Right.
But if she's not, now she doesn't feel equipped enough to even say, I want to be interested in prototype because I know you require me to be that. You follow what I'm saying?
You don't understand how many times in my younger days, like girls will look at me and be like, "You look like you like eat right and work out too much." I'm good. Like I've heard that so many times, yo, and it's crazy. I was like, "Wait, what?" It's like, "Yeah, you're way too fit for me. I can't do it."
So that's why I think that that's another element of why women have a hard time finding good men, is because the good that they see in good men, they don't see in themselves. Ash, what's your thoughts?
Basically, you just said everything, so I don't even understand why you called my name. You should just let me be quiet.
Because I wanted you to engage because you're a woman.
What does that mean? My opinion's invalid because I'm a pick me. Let me stop making myself this kind of craziness that they got going on. Okay, what you just said, they got to mirror what they see. A lot of these heifers don't mirror nothing. What they see is what they dressing up. They're playing dress up with themselves. You know how the Barbie dolls and the little army man come with all the accessories, and your mama had to study, go out and go buy more accessories. Because I had 100 of them dolls, and guess what I did? I broke them all down, took off everything, and switched it around. See how I look on this doll. Matter of fact, I don't like that jaw on that doll. I like that dress on that doll over there. Let me go get some from back there this head nappy. Let me work on her, see if I can bring her back to life. See, the problem that I think, this is what I think, is that when we're dating, we're not dating based on where we're trying to go. We're baiting on the broken parts of us. I think I said just a couple episodes back. We don't date to be better. We date to stay where we is because it's no requirement. Remember how I had said, a while back, I was dating somebody. Why? Because it didn't require no elevation. I could just be there, be comfortable right there. And when I wanted more, he had to go because I had to go because it wasn't doing nothing for me. Just like this job. That's why I'm trying to do this class now, because it ain't doing nothing for me. I feel like my talents is wasted. So therefore, it's time to move around. But as women, like y'all have said, we don't take accountability sometimes. Sometimes we don't want to grow. Sometimes, you get comfortable. But the thing is, we let that uncomfortableness turn to bitterness, and we start taking it out on the children, the men around us, everybody around us get infected with this. And that's what you see right now, is a bunch of bitter people running around here with bitter kids, bitter outlook on life, don't know how to go up past where they are. If they would have just took the initiative, that's where you get all that, oh, you shouldn't date this kind of guy, or you should date for money, or you need a super safe. See, that's where this mixed message come from. Like you said, you can go, like y'all saying, Christian route and everything, but everybody don't have that no more, because Big Mama is out in the club with the granddaughter now. She at the hole in the wall, throwing the thing in a circle. I'm just saying, if you ride the bus, you know what they look like. I see them all the time. I'm just saying, Grandma got her a new wig. Grandma finna go cut up. Grandma got them long nails now. Grandma finna go cut up because she done been at the hole in the wall with Susan and them. And she finna go ride down a couple of blocks, and she gonna ride over there to where they at, and they gonna pick up from there and go on about their business. I'm just saying, not trying to put nobody out there. I'm just telling you what I see and how it goes on Sunday morning. You don't really see a whole lot of people that's going to church. What is it now? Because if you look at it, this is what I observe. Again, I'm a pick me and I'm wrong. Always wrong. But if you look at it, women now are the new alcoholics. What we got now? We got brunch. Men used to be the alcoholics. Why? Because men had more access to the money. They was doing most of the work. So, hey, they needed stress relief because they didn't know how to deal at home, right? But now women are coming out the home and doing all this feminine stuff, talking about it's feminine. They can drink and do all that. But what about your children? What are you saying? You're saying go get the education, go have some kids, but don't raise kids. Don't raise kids, but go have fun with your friends. Wait a minute, hold on, you can't do that. Because what you're teaching the kids, you're teaching the kids how to be undisciplined. You're teaching them how to choose you and only you, and whatever comes with it, they just got to fall in the background. And when you decide to pick it up, that's when you decide to pick it up. But people want to play basketball. You can't play basketball right here. This is more like a golf thing, because sometimes you got to figure out where the hole is. You got to figure it out. And I think that we have not done that part. We don't do the research. We get with these guys that we know they ain't no good, or they halfway good, and we turn them better. And it can be the other way around too. Not just gonna put it all like that, but most of the time you get with a woman, because I've seen this, you beat a man down. You beat him down because he don't have the money. You beat him down because he don't work the job. You beat him down because he don't know how to put in the effort. You ain't telling him nothing that you feel like you know more, but you ain't telling him nothing. You don't understand if he's comfortable there or he got a plan B to get out. You don't do no research. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you got bitter people dating other folks, turning them bitter. That's why they say opposite attract. No, it don't. Opposite don't attract. It's that brokenness that attracts, because that broken part of you find over there in that person. And when y'all get together, it feels right. You feel whole. And then once they betray you, there's another piece of you that's broken because they done did something that they shouldn't did. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't understand that. It took me a while to get here. Like I said, I BS a lot. It took me a while to get here to understand that I had to move from there. In order for me to go where I'm trying to go, I can't be where I'm at now. And that's why I say I don't want to invite somebody in until I've done complete reconstruction of my mind, because where I'm at now, I'm getting there. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be there by the end of the year, because that's a lie. That's false hope. I'm not doing it. But in order for me to have the healthy relationship and be the best person I be the best mom, be best employee I can be, that I know I can give a job, like Prototype said, we can give these jobs, these students, these schools 100%, 109% do extra credit, stay up all night, all times of night, and do all this stuff. But yet you can't give a relationship that type of commitment. You can't give your relationship that type of dedication. Something's wrong there. And you got to figure out where it's at. And that's what we're not doing no more. Let's say you can play the blame game. You can play the blame. I blame parents. That's who I'm going to blame. I ain't blaming no children. Children only do what we say, lead by example. What we tell them all the time, don't do as I do, do as I say. And what they end up doing as we do, not what we say. Because, hey, if I would have did the opposite, I'd probably be married by now. Probably be, getting ready to go to bed, working on a proposal or something, not up doing homework. But, hey, I'm just saying, that's just how I feel about it. It's just good men are out there, but it's who they're looking at. Because at the same time, the person that they're looking at is not looking at them. You're looking at the drug dealers. You're looking at the aspiring rapper that can't rap. You're holding them down. You're buying studio time. You're doing all this unnecessary for this man. But had you gave the dude that really wanted to be with you that same effort, that same time, that same enthusiasm, you could be a lot happier. But we're not bred to do that, because I had a friend that got mad because I refused to struggle. I listen to what I said. I refuse to struggle with somebody. I said, I live by the term. I can do bad by myself. But at the same time, she was like, if all you had to do was get her to try and let him get himself together. But we're getting older. Time wait for nobody. Baby, money come now. We have responsibility now. So I don't know how I had to tell her, I don't know how you was raised, but we don't play the kind of shenanigans. You either gonna get together or get lost. See, that's your problem. If you want to wait on your man and then go through all that hardship, cheating, all this side piece, if you want to do all that headache, that's on you. But yet, you cannot fault somebody else that don't want to go through that to allow somebody to develop. Because once you're together and once you start bringing kids in and stuff, that should be the change. That should be the wake-up call. That should be where your mind click. But we don't think like that. We think about a personal and not being lonely, how it's a stigmatism. A stig, where they say, oh, you're black, you got kids, you got to take whatever is out there. No, if you work on yourself and do therapy, if that's what you need to do, pottery, whatever you need to do to get the bitterness out, whatever, I'm just saying, whatever, shopping, whatever, shopaholic, whatever you got to do to make yourself whole again, you can find somebody good. But we don't want to do that. We want to do the right now, satisfy right now, and then cry and become a victim. Can't do that. Anyway, I'm done. We'll go back to work over here.
Man, I followed everything that you said. That was phenomenal. That was apropos. Is that the word? Because you hit a lot of different things. I think Charleston wanted to communicate something on one of them, I'm sure, and lost as well. To hear a woman's perspective on how they can see themselves changing and not necessarily having a timeline, but knowing that I cannot be with somebody in the space that I'm in, but I want to be for somebody when I get to the space I'm supposed to be in, right? That is maturity right there. Charleston, what you got?
Well, I did want to ask a question because one of the things that she said is she said that she was working on some things personally, and she says, "I don't know when I'm going to be there." She says, "I didn't want to set the expectation by the end of the year because I don't know." But I would want to ask, like, if a quote unquote good man came along right now, would you be open to the relationship, or would you be like, "I'm not in that space right now"? Like, what would you do with them?
Oh my God, why y'all always want to do this? Mind your business, sir. This. Okay.
Charleston, we've done this before.
Oh, okay. I'm
Go
not sure. Here's my thing, because believe it or not, a couple weeks ago, somebody did ask my number. I gave it to him. I did. I really did. I ain't gonna lie. But the thing is, I would not shut it down. I would not. I would be open to it to see where it goes, because my work schedule be the main thing. Because like while y'all guys asleep, I'm be awake. I'm finna get ready to go to work, or I'm at work, because I'll be at work at 4:36 a.m. That's prior to me leaving my house. And that because somebody out, I don't know what we were doing. We were just wasting time. He was like, I don't like your schedule. It's like, well, that's what pays the bills. What you want me to do? You want me to quit? You ready to pay a car note? You ready to take on my bills? Because I understand that, because to me, you got to be a driver to understand, because like sometimes I don't get off on time. Like today, I did not get off on time. Was I mad? No, because it wasn't my fault. I had wheelchairs. I gotta pick these people up. I gotta drop them off. Because I remember, what was it, when we just started this new schedule? That's why I really went on here. Like that whole week straight, I was getting off late. I'm talking about 1, 2, 3 o'clock. I'm supposed to be off by 12:32. Why am I still here? Why you got an attitude problem? I'm here, and it's almost 2 o'clock. And people don't understand, like, when I say it's time to lay down, it's time to lay down. Even my kids know when I say I'm in my room, I'm gonna go sleep, because I need to go to sleep. I need to decompress. It's probably been a long day, because sometimes you just get caught up in that school traffic. You got these kids running around, and I'm not blaming no kids or nothing like that. It's just like it's a whole lot of moving parts early in the morning, and like some people don't understand that when I come home, sometimes when everybody's in the house and I know this in the house, I turn my phone off, and somebody may not. Like we were talking about earlier about the location, you may not understand that's what I do. And it's like, it's kind of hard for me to try to indoctrinate somebody into this, because you're used to that constant access.
Yeah,
Because
orthodox schedule for
yeah,
person is what she's
yeah.
saying. And we've
Like,
talked to her about this. I don't know.
like
Well,
the times that you don't see me on the show is because really I don't overslept. I used to tell him, hey, text my phone, because I'm in here sleep. Like literally, my kid came home today. I didn't even know she was in the house. She was like, Mama, I hurt my leg. I'm like, well, the meat ain't off the bone. You good. Go on, go sit down. I'm gonna go back to sleep until your sister get home. It's like when I'm overworked, baby, I just want to lay down and go to sleep. Like I done been asleep twice today, believe it or not. And I'm finna go back to sleep when I get done with this. But it's like, if you don't drive, it's like you don't understand. Cause like there was one dude, he really just didn't understand. Like, I can't talk to you no more. You're not available. I'm like, dude, I've been in my job almost 10 years now. I work early in the morning. Like, you can call after about 2, 3.
because this when my do not disturb go off. It goes off after 2 or 3 because I try to give myself at least time to get to my car, time to get home so I can decompress. So therefore I can be, hey, how you doing? What's up with you? Because like when I'm on that bus and I'm trying to get off, or if I'm having to drive somebody's car, I'm focused. Or if I got stuff to do, like this week I got stuff to do because it's birthday is Friday, so I got stuff to do. So it's about to be crunch time around here. And it's just like people don't understand how I break up my day. And it's kind of like, that's why I say I don't want to bring nobody into this, because you're not going to see me when you think so. Like, you're going to have a whole attitude. If you ain't finna bring me something to eat on the bus, which I know you probably not, because it's going to be way on the other side of town. Because like my route don't even come by my house no more. Like I don't even come nowhere over here. So it's like,
Johnson.
Yeah, real quick, and I'm gonna let Lost go. But I was just gonna offer, when you first told me that, like, if a good man came along, you would be hesitant. I was just gonna ask. I was like, look, a good man doesn't necessarily need a woman to be accomplished. We need a woman to have character. Accomplishment comes with time, applying your character, applying discipline. And the reality is that we've all been through things, but we haven't all healed from what we've been through. And trauma has a way of causing us to have open wounds past the time that we've actually been delivered from our situation. There's nothing wrong with having scars. There is something wrong with having wounds. If you have wounds that need to heal, then by all means give yourself time to heal. But if you've understood, like, hey, I've been through this, lesson learned, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm course correcting and I'm doing A through Z. Well, now that's just discipline over time until you accomplish something. And now you've got scars. You don't have wounds. And nobody gets mad at scars. You know what I'm saying? Show me the scars. That's fine. That's what Jesus had to do to Thomas. He had to show him the scars so that he would believe, like, I am exactly who I say I am. And that's all that means, is that you've been through something. We all have it. And I would dare say that if a man has a problem with you having scars, he has problems with himself. And that's an insecure man, because a man is going to not only have no problem with your scars, but he's going to share his scars with you, because God knows he has them. So that's just my 2 cents, but I want to hear from my boy Lost.
You know what, Ash? I'm gonna give you a little bit of advice, darling. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, take somebody with you. Okay. Let that soak in for a little bit. You ain't got to figure it out today, but eventually you will. I wanted to point out something that Ashley said that was really profound, and I really don't want people to miss this, because it was spot on. I think a lot of times when women are looking for men, what they do is they dress themselves up as if they qualify for the type of men they want without doing the work. It's like Ashley said, they play dress up. They'll say things like, we look cute together. But my thing is, do you guys work good together? You see what I'm saying? I think that's the whole purpose of God putting men and women together, is, can you guys work together? Even in kindergarten, they give you a little gold star that says plays well with others. I think there's a lot of people who walking around who didn't get that star. They don't play well with others. They never talk about or ask anybody about themselves. They never ask about their day. They never go into any type of introspection about, hey, did I check on this particular person? And it shows, because their conversation dominates what can somebody do for them. Well, if you're operating your function that you were designed to do, you would ask somebody else, hey, what can I do to help you? That's when you reach your real power. Because the minute that you actually operate in that power, the other person can actually say, hey, you know what? This person is invaluable. Let me really take care of this person, And then that way it completes the circuit. It completes the loop. But if you turn around and all you do is worried about what somebody else can get to you, then basically you're opening a circuit, and that power doesn't have room to flow. It's like when you turn the switch on, but you don't have the power outside, nothing's going to happen, but the minute you connect that switch and that power's working, that's when everything works. So in order for you to find a good man, you kind of got to be a good woman. And if you're out of practice, then how can you notice a good man if you don't see a good woman in yourself that can actually help or connect with that particular person. So I would tell women, a lot of times, man, just if you're looking for a good man, just be a good woman and you'll find him. I got a friend of mine, Brittany Gold. She's on TikTok and she teaches women, she runs a little, her platform. She talks to women about, preparing themselves for wives. And I go in and I listen, she asks me some questions from time to time, but for the most part, I like to listen and I like to watch. And a lot of the questions that the women ask are not really questions that actually help you find a husband. They will ask questions like, how can you tell if he's cheating on you? And I'm like, what? And to me, it seems like they're trying to do the bare minimum to get by. Instead of them asking questions, hey, how can I uplift my husband? How can I tell when he's having a bad day? How can I be of service to my husband? Those are questions that are wife questions. And if you're always asking whether or not somebody's going to leave you, you're preparing to be cheated on. You're preparing to leave, But if you're preparing yourself to stay, you would want to ask questions like, how can I help? Is there something on your mind? You would actually try to reach inside that person to figure exactly out what they need. Because sometimes men don't always tell you what they need because it's sometimes pride and ego kicks in. But if you mess around and you get somebody that tells you exactly what they need, yeah, you're in good shape then, because now you have direction to know what you need to do. And I think sometimes men and women need to do a little bit of work, and men need to be free to say, hey, look, this is what I need. And women need to say, okay, great, let me go ahead and do that for you. Or they anticipate, the need. And I think that's something that we really need to work on as a people, is to anticipate the need by listening to see what the other person really wants. That's the reason why I always say questions are the answers. Are we asking the right questions so we can get the right answers?
That's good, man. I appreciate y'all. Proto, did you have something you want to say before we get out of here? Listen, Ash, you need to make sure you're consistent on here. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do better. I'm here. Go.
You and Jamie mistaken. Like we're here talking to the guys, but we definitely need you all here to give the woman perspective. This has been a dope show, as usual. Good men exist. Are they checking for you?
No, they ain't checking for you.
I said, good men check for good women. That's how it goes, right? Well, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out Ash on Instagram, Charleston on YouTube. You're not much on Instagram, but on YouTube. What's the name of the channel, Charleston?
It's Just Teach Ministries.
Just Teach Ministries. And then you can just Google Lost in Translation. You'll find them any and everywhere. And same thing with Prototype. And you know what we doing. Until next time, we out here. Deuces.
The boy is dangerous.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.